Hello, grade 6 students. How are you all doing? This is Miss Fatin, and this is our second science lecture video. And we are still talking about the cells. The cells are the basic unit of structure of all living things. When we say living things, we mean organisms, and people, animals, and plants are organisms. They are living things. Okay, so again, another word to say living things is organisms. What are different types of organisms that we know? People, animals, and plants. All living things are built or made of building blocks that we call cells. Cells have different jobs, different shapes, different sizes, and they build living things, as I said. How did we know? For example, we took this tomato, we took a piece of the skin of the tomato, and then we looked under the microscope. We saw that the skin of a tomato fruit is made out of a big number of cells stacked next to each other. Since now we know the difference between animal cells and plant cells, let's take a look on this slide, on this picture. As you can see, the outside of the cells is thick, since this is a plant cell with a cell membrane and a cell wall. And look also at these figures showing different forms, shapes, and for sure these cells have different jobs, different functions. Cells are microscopic, meaning that we cannot see them with our naked eyes. We'll need a microscope to need them. Plants, animals, and people bodies are made out of a huge number of cells, but in nature, there are organisms made out of one cell or a small number of cells. An example of unicellular organisms, an organism made of one cell, is the paramecium. We talked about this animal that lives in ponds water. The paramecium is a unicellular organism. I told you, unicellular makes us think of une cellule, one cell in French for sure. So this organism is made out of one cell. It is called unicellular organism, and we cannot see them with our naked eye. We'll need a microscope to see it. So it is a microorganism. Okay, again, cells are microscopic. We will need a microscope to observe them. Also, it's true that our bodies are made out of an endless number of cells, but in nature, there are unicellular organisms or microscopic organisms that live equally, okay? As we said, and as we saw in the previous figures, different cells have different sizes, functions, shapes, but all cells, and also the two types of cells, the plant cells and the animal cells, share three basic parts. All cells have a cell membrane, which is the outside of the cell that keeps everything in the inside, the nucleus, which is the center of the cell, and the inside, the jelly structure of the cell called the cytoplasm. Okay, all cells, plant cells and animal cells, have three basic parts. What are these parts? The nucleus, which is the center of the cell, the cytoplasm, and this cytoplasm is surrounded with a cell membrane. Animal cells and plant cells have these three basic parts. Inside the cytoplasm of a cell, you will see different organelles. What's an organelle? It is a machine with a special job in the cell, such as mitochondria, such as chloroplasts, and so on. Plant cells have different organelles than animal cells do, okay? This is what do you think? Is it a plant cell or an animal cell? If you said plant cell, you're right. Look, here we have the cell membrane and the outside, the cell wall. And look at these beautiful green organelles, the chloroplasts. This is a plant cell. We will compare a plant cell to an animal cell. And as you can see, an animal cell has one cell membrane with no chloroplasts in the inside. These two drawings show an animal cell on the left side, a plant cell on the right side. The arrows are pointed to the cell membrane. You're right. Then the inside, the jelly-like structure of the cell where organelles are found is called the cytoplasm. We have the center, the control center of the cell that controls all the activities happening inside is the nucleus. Then we have these are the powerhouses. These are the sources of energy in the cell, the mitochondria. A plant cell shows a cell wall, and it also shows chloroplasts. Don't forget that chloroplasts are a kind of plastids. Plastids are found in plant cells. They have a role in photosynthesis, in the food making process that plants go through. So chloroplasts contain chlorophyll. They are a type of plastids, and the pigment found in plastids determines the color of the plant. Now let's talk about the job or the function of each organelle in the cell. Here we have the cell wall. This is for sure a plant cell. You know that, right? Since it shows a cell wall and a cell membrane. The cell wall is strong. It is the outside of the plant cell. It is strong and it protects the cell. Second, we have the cell membrane. The cell membrane controls what enters and what leaves the cell. It holds everything in the cell inside, and it is like a gateway that lets substances in and out. Let's compare it to a door, okay? The cell membrane is like a door that lets things in and out. The nucleus, it is the control center of the cell. It directs all the activities. The vacuole, here we have the containers. They store things in the cell. A plant cell shows one big vacuole, one large vacuole, while animal cells show small and several vacuoles. We have here the chloroplasts. What's the job of the chloroplasts? The chloroplasts contain the chlorophyll. The chlorophyll's job is to trap and to catch sunlight needed for the plant's photosynthesis. And last, we have the mitochondria, which are the energy sources in the cell. Okay, clear? We will revise them together, but now using an animal cell. Here is the drawing of an animal cell. This is obvious and clear. This cell shows one cell membrane with no cell wall. So let me write right here, no cell wall. So it is an animal cell. What's the job of the cell membrane? We compared the cell membrane to a door. It lets things in and out the cell. Then we have the vacuole. Look, here is a vacuole and here is a second one. As I said, in an animal cell, you will see many small vacuoles. Then we have, okay, the vacuoles are containers. They store things in the cell. This is the nucleus, which is the control center. It controls and directs activities inside the cell. The mitochondria, the mitochondria's job is to provide or to go to, yes, to provide ATP energy needed for the plant to work. Okay, here where respiration happens. Respiration is the process that provides bodies with ATP energy. Okay, and that's it. That's it. We have the cells. We said that the cells are the basic unit of structure and function of all living things. Don't forget, people, animals, and plants are living things, and they are made of building blocks called cells. There are multicellular organisms made of a huge number of cells, such as, let's give a cat. A cat's body is made of a big number of cells. Our bodies, so people, and there are too much examples. Plants too. Plants are made of a big number of cells. And we have also unicellular organisms. Here I will write the example of a paramecium. The paramecium is an animal, is a unicellular animal. It is microscopic. Inside a cell, you will see, okay, so a cell, inside a cell you will see organelles such as chloroplasts and vacuoles. Okay, we have two types of cells, a plant cell and an animal cell. A plant cell shows a cell wall and chloroplasts. The animal cell has no cell wall, no chloroplasts. The job of the chloroplasts is to catch sunlight energy, as you can see here in these cute GIF pictures. In both plant cells and animal cells, you will see vacuoles, which are the containers. Look at this, they are containers to store things. The cytoplasm, which is the inside, the jelly-like structure inside the cell, it holds the organelles. What else? I didn't mention the nucleus. The nucleus is the control center, the mitochondria for energy, and that's it. Don't forget that we cannot see cells with our naked eyes. We will need a microscope. So today we talked about the difference between animal cells and plant cells, the parts of these cells and the function of each part. If you still have any question about the lesson, you can contact me for sure. Okay, see you soon.